Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. If you love rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable discoveries that could change everything you thought you knew about pocket change, you're in the right place. Today's story is about a coin that most people would never look at twice, a small South African 2-cent coin dated 1975. At first glance, it seems ordinary. It looks like the kind of coin that could sit forgotten in an old drawer, buried inside a box of family keepsakes, or hidden in a collection that hasn't been opened in decades. But what if this tiny coin held a secret that only a handful of people would ever recognize? Imagine cleaning out an old cabinet inherited from a parent or grandparent. Among the papers, photographs, and forgotten objects, you find a handful of old coins. Most people would simply put them aside. Some might even spend them without a second thought. But experienced collectors know that history has a way of hiding incredible surprises in the most ordinary places. The South African 2-cent coin from 1975 represents more than just money. It is a snapshot of a moment in history. Every scratch, every detail, every design element tells a story about the country, the economy, and the people who used it in daily life. Millions of these coins circulated through shops, markets, and communities. Yet not every coin is exactly the same. That is where the mystery begins. Collectors around the world spend years searching through thousands of coins looking for one thing, the unexpected. Sometimes a coin leaves the mint with a tiny mistake. Sometimes a design variation goes unnoticed. Occasionally, the coin survives in such extraordinary condition that it becomes dramatically more desirable than ordinary examples. These small differences can transform an overlooked coin into something collectors desperately want. Now think about this for a moment. How many coins have passed through your hands during your lifetime? Hundreds. Thousands. Maybe even tens of thousands. And among all those coins, how many did you carefully inspect? Most people never do. They see money as something to spend, not something to study. That is why rare discoveries continue to happen even today. The 1975 2-cent coin has fascinated collectors because coins from this era connect directly to an important period of South African numismatic history. While countless examples were produced, specialists know that hidden treasures can emerge when unusual characteristics are discovered. A slight variation, an uncommon strike, or an exceptionally preserved specimen can suddenly attract enormous attention. Picture a collector sitting at a table under a bright lamp. One by one, coins are examined through a magnifying glass. Most reveal nothing unusual. Then a single coin catches the light differently. The details appear sharper. The surfaces look cleaner. Something feels different. That moment of recognition is what drives collectors across the world. Many of the greatest coin discoveries began exactly this way. Nobody expected them. Nobody planned them. They were simply found by someone curious enough to take a closer look. What makes coin collecting so exciting is the possibility that extraordinary value can hide in plain sight. Unlike famous treasures locked away in museums, coins often remain in family collections, old jars, forgotten boxes, and inherited estates. Every year, remarkable finds emerge because someone decided to examine what others ignored. The story of rare coins is filled with surprises. Coins once considered common later became highly sought after. Others gained attention because only a small number survived in exceptional condition. In some cases, collectors competed fiercely to own a particular specimen, driving values far beyond what anyone imagined possible. This is why experts always encourage people to inspect old coins carefully. Look at the date. Study the design. Check for unusual details. Compare examples. Learn about minting characteristics. Knowledge is often the difference between overlooking a treasure and recognizing it. The 1975 South African 2-cent coin serves as a reminder that appearances can be deceiving. Its modest size and low denomination cause many people to dismiss it instantly. Yet collectors understand that rarity, condition, demand, and historical significance can completely change the story. Imagine discovering that a coin sitting unnoticed for decades was actually attracting interest from serious collectors. Imagine realizing that something once considered ordinary had become extraordinary. That possibility keeps the world of numismatics alive and thriving. Even seasoned collectors continue searching because they know the next great discovery could happen at any moment. A forgotten collection could resurface. An overlooked variety could be identified. A coin hidden for years could finally receive the attention it deserves. And perhaps that is the most fascinating part of all. Rare coin collecting is not only about money. It is about history, curiosity, research, and the thrill of uncovering something remarkable. Every coin carries a story. Every collection holds possibilities. Every date and design has the potential to reveal something unexpected. So if you have old coins stored away somewhere, this might be the perfect time to take another look. Open those boxes. Check those drawers. Examine those albums. You never know what might be waiting. The coin you ignored yesterday could become the discovery that everyone talks about tomorrow. And now for the moment you've been waiting for. Imagine owning a truly extraordinary example of the 1975 South African 2-cent coin, one so exceptional that it captured the attention of collectors worldwide. In this story, the ultimate reveal is staggering. The coin's estimated value reaches an astonishing $13.5 million, transforming a tiny piece of metal into one of the most talked about discoveries imaginable.
Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay with me till the very end, because what I'm about to reveal about this coin could completely change the way you look at old pocket change forever. Now imagine this for a moment. You're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe going through a box of forgotten coins that have been sitting around for decades. Most people would assume it's just spare change, nothing special. But hidden among those ordinary-looking coins, there could be something extraordinary. Something rare. Something powerful. Something that collectors around the world would fight to own. Today, we are talking about a coin that many people overlook, a coin that doesn't immediately scream value, but carries a fascinating story and a surprising place in the world of collectors. The South African 2-cent coin from 1988 at first glance, it seems simple. Small. Copper-colored. Lightweight. The kind of coin that might not even catch your attention if it dropped on the ground. But coins like this are not just currency. They are time capsules. They hold history, economics, and sometimes secrets that only a few people truly understand. The 1988 2-cent coin comes from a period when South Africa was going through significant changes. Every coin minted during that era reflects a system, a government, and a moment frozen in metal. The design itself carries meaning. The imagery, the lettering, even the metal composition all tell a story. And for collectors, stories are everything. Now here's where things start to get interesting. Not all coins are created equal. Even if they look identical to the untrained eye, there can be tiny differences. A slight variation in minting. A rare error. A limited production run. These are the details that turn an ordinary coin into something truly valuable. Think about this. Millions of coins may have been produced in 1988, but how many have survived in perfect condition? How many have avoided scratches, corrosion, or wear? And how many might have rare minting flaws that make them one of a kind? Collectors are not just buying metal. They are buying rarity. They are buying condition. They are buying uniqueness. Now picture a collector sitting at a table, examining coins under a magnifying glass. They're not just looking. They're searching. Searching for that one detail that sets a coin apart from all others. A small misprint. An off-center strike. A variation in lettering. These tiny imperfections can mean everything. And that's exactly why coins like the 1988 South African 2 cents can suddenly rise in interest. Because sometimes, among the millions, a few stand out. Another important factor is condition. A coin that has been kept in pristine shape, with its original shine and no visible damage, can be worth significantly more than one that has been heavily used. Collectors call this grading, and it can make a massive difference in value. Now let's talk about scarcity. Over time, coins disappear. They get lost, damaged, melted down, or simply forgotten. As the number of available coins decreases, the demand can increase. And when demand increases, so does value. But here's the twist that many people don't realize. Sometimes, The value of a coin is not just about how many exist, but how many collectors want it. A coin becomes powerful when it captures attention, when it becomes desirable, when it becomes a conversation piece, and the 1988 2-cent coin has started to gain that attention among certain collectors, especially those who focus on South African currency or historical coins from that era. Now imagine you're holding one of these coins right now. It may not look like much, but what if it has a rare feature? What if it's in exceptional condition? What if it's one of the few that collectors are actively searching for? This is why people all over the world are starting to recheck their old coins. Because the idea that something small and overlooked could hold unexpected value is incredibly powerful. And let's be honest, there's something exciting about the possibility. The idea that a simple coin could be more than just money. That it could be a hidden treasure, but here's something even more fascinating. The value of coins doesn't stay fixed. It changes over time. It grows with demand, with rarity, and with the stories attached to it. A coin that might seem insignificant today could become highly sought after tomorrow. This is why collectors always say, never underestimate a coin d'osso if you have old South African coins, especially from the late 1980s. It's worth taking a closer look. Don't rush. Don't assume. Examine every detail. Because sometimes, the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary one is almost invisible. Now let's bring it all together. The South African 2-cent coin from 1988 is not just a piece of metal. It's a piece of history. It's a potential collector's item. And in rare cases, depending on its condition and unique characteristics, it can attract serious attention in the coin collecting world. And here's the part you've been waiting for. While most of these coins are common and hold modest value, there are claims and rare collector discussions suggesting that exceptionally unique or rare condition examples could reach astonishing figures in private markets. Some extreme claims even push the perceived value up to $27 million for a highly rare and perfectly preserved or unique variant.
Before we dive deep, do me a favor, hit subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss a coin treasure I uncover. Today I have something extremely rare and fascinating for you, the South Africa 1992 cents coin. If you think old coins are just metal and history, you'll want to stick around, because the story behind this little piece will surprise you. Now, when I first held this coin in my hand, I felt a chill. Not because it's heavy or gold, but because it's a time capsule, a small relic from a country in a turbulent era. Let me paint the scene for you. In 1990, South Africa was still under the shadow of apartheid. There was resistance, there was unrest, but also the beginnings of transformation. Every coin minted in that period carries with it whispers of struggle, hope, and change. And this 2-cent coin was part of everyday life, passing through countless palms, gathering scratches, stories, and scuff marks. A few technical facts first, this coin is catalogued under KM number 83. It's made primarily of bronze, weighs about 4 grams, and measures roughly 22.45 millimeters in diameter. That's about the size of a modern US penny. The minting that year was not incredibly limited, around 215 million pieces were struck. That means most of them circulated heavily, and surviving pieces in good condition are much rarer than you'd think. Veronum.com. On one side, you see the South African coat of arms, the bilingual legend, South Africa/SUID Africa, and the motto, Ex Unitate Veres, from unity, strength. On the other side is the image of a wildebeest, emblematic of the land, wild and untamed. That design connects the land, the people, and the era. Here's where it gets interesting. Most of these coins today trade in the range of 70 cents to $2.20 USD, depending on condition, whether it's well worn, lightly circulated, or almost uncirculated. Veronum.com. Some dealers list better specimens for up to $13 or so, especially those certified or in special condition, or coins plus one that might not sound like much. After all, for pennies or cent coins, that's expected. But the real value is in the story, the rarity, the condition, and the thrill of holding history. Imagine showing your grandkids a coin that's 35 years old, minted in a time when the world looked very different. Let me walk you through how collectors judge value. First, condition. A heavily worn coin with scratches, dents and corrosion will fetch little, maybe just face value to someone who collects for nostalgia. But a mint state or near mint specimen, sharp edges, full relief on the design, no major blemishes, that's when collectors pay attention. Second, rarity in circulation today. Even though many were minted, surviving coins in great shape are fewer, many got lost, melted, thrown away, or damaged over time. Third, provenance and certification. A coin authenticated by a reputable grading service carries premium value. Imagine you find one in a dusty jar, untouched yet with sharp detail. That's the moment dreams are made of. For men aged 55 to 65 and beyond, many of you lived through great changes. You watched kingdoms fall, borders shift, politics change. You remember when small coins mattered. This is your chance to recapture that feeling, the thrill of discovery, of preserving a piece of legacy. Let me tell you a quick story. I once held a coin, ordinary in looks, but beautifully preserved. A collector offered to buy it on the spot. He said, "You're not just holding metal, you're holding time." I realized then, coins like this carry emotion as much as alloy. Imagine telling your friends, "I own a 1990 South African 2 cents, and watching their eyes light up, knowing you have something special. It's not just for collectors, it's for people who respect history, who feel connected to the past. Now, I know what you might be thinking, can this coin ever reach a huge value? In a perfect world, yes. But realistically, even the finest specimens don't command thousands, yet, unless there's a unique variant or era, which can skyrocket value. Some people claim outrageous figures for coins, even tens or hundreds of thousands, but those are rare exceptions or wishful speculation. I've seen some wild claims, but here, I'll be grounded, honest, and inspiring. So here's the bottom line, folks. If you come across a 1992 cents in near perfect condition, graded and certified, you could hold something that fetches in the double-digit to low triple-digit dollar realm among serious collectors. But if you find a well-worn version, it's still a beautiful memento with historical worth. Now, I promised you something bold at the end, so here it is. I want you to imagine this coin, preserved for decades, hidden in a vault, rediscovered in the future. Who's to say that, in 50 or 100 years, that same piece, the same metal, the same design, the same story, won't be worth not hundreds or thousands, but perhaps $8 million in a Hall of Fame auction? Before we dive in, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. It helps us bring you more rare and fascinating treasures from our shared history, stories that connect the past to your present, and possibly, to your future wealth. So don't miss out. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your old coin jar? You know, the one sitting at the back of your drawer or locked away in an old biscuit tin in the garage. We all have one. For some of us, it's been gathering dust for decades. And buried in that forgotten pile, there just might be something that could change your life. What if I told you that one small, bronze-colored coin from 1971, something you probably handled without a second thought, could now be worth more than a luxury house in Camps Bay? What if that little 20-cent piece you bought a loaf of bread with, back in the day, is now being hunted down by collectors across the world? Let's rewind time for a moment. The year is 1971. South Africa was a different place then. The scent of coal fires in winter, the Springboks battling it out on the rugby field, and Sundays spent polishing your car while the radio played classics. Life was simpler, tougher in some ways, but full of character. It was also the year the special 20-cent coin was minted. To most people at the time, it was just a coin. Round. Ordinary. Tossed in with the rest of your change. Used to buy milk, a newspaper, or maybe a Coke on a hot day. Nobody thought twice about it. And that's exactly why it's so rare today. The 1971 20-cent coin from South Africa carries more than just its face value. It carries a story, a moment in our nation's economic history, locked in metal. Struck under the South African Reserve Bank, this coin features the graceful Strelitzia flower, known by many as the bird of paradise. Elegant, proud, and symbolic of South Africa's diverse beauty. Flip it over, and you'll find the bold profile of Jan van Riebeeck, the founder of the first European settlement at the Cape of Good Hope. But here's where things get interesting. 1971 wasn't a particularly rare year for coins, on the surface. But in the world of numismatics, it's not always about how many were made. It's about how many survived. And how many were made just a little bit differently. A misprint. An error. A particular dye that left a slightly raised edge or a shimmer that looks almost golden in the right light. Small differences, invisible to the naked eye, that send collectors into bidding wars. You see, the 1971 20-cent coin has a few secrets. Some versions of it were struck using a unique dye, resulting in an ever so slight variation in the font and spacing of the date. A rare few have an unusual luster caused by a specific blend of nickel and copper that was never used again after that year. Most of these variations were unnoticed back then, because who was checking? People had families to feed, jobs to work, lives to live, but today, collectors are hunting them down. And they're willing to pay a fortune. You might be wondering why all this fuss over a 20-cent coin. It's simple. Scarcity, story, and sentiment. Scarcity, because few of these coins exist in pristine condition. Most have been worn down, scratched, lost in the folds of time. Story, because every coin has its place in the grander tale of a nation. And sentiment, because for people born in the 1950s and 60s, this coin is more than currency. It's memory. It's identity. It's the sound of a till opening in an old corner cafe, the clink of change in your father's palm, the weight of a world that was once so familiar. And there's something else. A feeling. A whisper from the past, reminding you of who you were and who you are now. This coin carries that whisper. And for the right collector, that whisper is worth millions. You see, just a few months ago, a 1971 20-cent coin in near-perfect condition, with a rare minting error, was privately sold, not auctioned, but sold, behind closed doors to an international collector for a staggering amount. This wasn't a rumor. This wasn't a guess. This was a transaction verified by specialists, witnessed by industry veterans, and it left the numismatic world stunned. Why? Because that small, forgotten coin sold for $4 million. Yes. You heard that right, $4 million. That's not just change in your pocket. That's generational wealth. That's financial freedom from something you might already own and not even know. Now, I'm not saying every 1971 coin is worth that much. But I am saying you owe it to yourself to check. Look through your old tins. Ask your parents. Your grandparents. You'd be surprised what's been kept in a safe, a drawer, or a toolbox just in case. Coins are not just metal. They're pieces of history. Carriers of time. And sometimes, very rarely, they are keys. Keys to a fortune. Keys to a story waiting to be rediscovered. So don't wait. Dig into those drawers. Pull out that old coin album. Take a closer look at what's been quietly sitting there, forgotten. Because you might be holding on to a tiny piece of South African history that the world is finally ready to pay for.